Starting guys, welcome back to the Bodybuilding Prospect with me and Al. This week's episode, we are taking a little look at PEDs, AAS, and anabolic and androgenic steroids, and whether or not your gear is fake. Because currently we have got a fake gear head, a secret Natty on the cast. Big Al, give the people a little re-up of what's happened recently.
So obviously, first of all, welcome to episode 2. If you haven't seen episode 1, obviously please check it out. Just us breezing last week. We're going to make this a weekly occurrence. We will not let up on, obviously, our goal here, obviously, to open the world up of bodybuilding a bit more. Obviously, do our bit for that. But this episode is going to be called Natty Al, or fake Natties, or whatever you want to call it, because of the situation I was in recently of getting my bloods done and finding out some of the sources that I'd used to pick up gear end up being fake, because my bloods showed a 4.65, I think it was mmol-L, which, to anyone who doesn't know what that means, the standard range for a male is around 8 to 30 mmol-L. So obviously, technically speaking, I'm natural, mate, you know, so no one can argue it. I've got bloods to prove it. So, but this is actually convenient timing to cover a topic that guys should consider, is getting your bloods done for XYZ reason. And obviously this is something we're going to take advantage of today.
So yeah, I think the range for testosterone that Al said was from somewhere around 8 mmol to 30 mmol. For someone using enhancements, he should be pushing himself into that super physiological range, sort of a plus 30. There's a conversation to be had on your own genetic conversion rate. Not everyone will convert testosterone or anabolics the same, so you will get different readings on the same dose dependent on person to person, but you should never be close to the bottom end of natural testosterone, let alone out of the range of natural testosterone if you are using enhancements. That's a clear indication that something is very wrong. And it kind of brings up the subject of, obviously, whether your gear is real or not. And how do you go about finding out if what you're using is real or faked? One way, like Al said there, was getting your blood work done. Obviously, getting your blood works done is, it should be ritual, should be done as and when on a needs basis, based off of, blasting, cruising, that kind of vibe, at peak loads, getting your bloods done to see where your tolerance sits, etc., and to make sure that you are healthy during and obviously after big periods of blasting. Double check all your organ health and everything is all in a good spot. But also, it is a good telltale spot if hormones are on that list, to check to see whether your gear is real. Another way to do it, there are companies out there that do actual steroid tests. They're literally called steroid tests, or like anabolic tests and things like this. I've never actually used one. I've always done blood work and never been in the situation that I was in, fortunately, or I've never known to be in. Whenever I've got my bloods done, everything's always been well out of range on the hormone front, as it should do. But yeah, it's something that happens a hell of a lot more than anyone would like to admit. There are people out there are just trying to rob your money, and external situations have an effect on this. I mean, the current world situation, I don't know if, Al, you've heard about the China situation. A lot of raw products that people here in underground labs make anabolic and androgenic steroids. There's been a big shift during COVID, and currently with deliveries in and out of China and stuff. I can't really remember. There's been some rumors of factories being shut down and shit over there, so they can't get the products out and stuff. Whatever the reason is, they can't get it over here. There's a lot of fake Provaron around at the moment, obviously because of the shortage, fake VAR, Primo, and now, according to Al, there's some fake testosterone going about. Now, obviously, we won't mention any lab names or anything like that during the podcast.
I will.
Yeah, I'm not about that life, calling people out.
I'm not gonna. This is clearly not, because it clearly wasn't the real one.
Yeah.
What was being used? I'm not saying by any means the actual lab itself was the issue, because, funnily enough, I've known the owner and spoke to him before, and then I found out through sources afterwards of this result that it had been sold to someone else. I don't even know the name, and I don't need to know the name. It's nothing to do with me anymore. But I was curious to see how far down the rabbit hole does it go, what was the reason for it, and hearing, obviously, through guys in the competing industry, things like that, what actually happened. And apparently the lab went a bit downhill since then. Maybe it was because of shortages. Maybe it was because people trying to monetize on the situation of owning a prestigious lab. But what I'm about to say, this isn't saying that the lab itself is poor, because it's not. I have used this lab for years and had bloods done, and they reflected exactly as it should, as an enhanced athlete should, and actually being extremely impressed with the result and having my bloods looked at by experts in the field, with Joe Jeffrey, for example. So yeah, I was using ROM labs. This doesn't mean I was using ROM itself. I was using something that someone had claimed to be ROM. Therefore, it's all speculation whether or not, like, someone easy could be on here and say, like, you open my eyes a bit and be like, ROM's shit. But that's not the truth, because ROM isn't. It's whoever's faking it, whether someone underdosed something, or probably simple, it isn't real, because it isn't the same, because the label would change. The people know PEDs, they come in the same label. This one was a bit shiny, a bit reflective, and thinking, is that, telltale sign, is it a knockoff or not?
Slightly different colors. But again, like you said, it's often not the lab. It's further down that chain of who's reselling that rabbit hole, typical drug hierarchy. So it's only got to take one money grabber to, oh, fuck it, I'll take the labels off and copy that. And
But this is like, for example, the guy who got it off was trusted. A guy who's been in the field for a very long time, and he was quite upset when I went to him and I said he went on the back foot a little bit and got a little bit defensive with it. Because essentially he's made a mistake as well. Wherever he has sourced it from has done the dirty. Either that or he has. I'm not going to say anything like that, but it's all speculation. Who knows? You don't want to slag someone straight away.
Reputation goes.
Reputation will go. Hence, and that's what I was like it is being spoken about now. So what can you do from there? Plain simple for me, I haven't got time to waste in a bodybuilding career to be worrying about what PEDs I'm using so easily. I had a lot of guys reach out, fortunately enough, I was making friends in the industry. And you have contacts for this sort of thing. And of course, illegal to own steroids and things like that, but obviously it's illegal to buy. I'm not saying we do buy them or by any means, but as in to own them, it is legal. Go on.
So the legality behind them is, I believe it's a Class C drug in the UK, which means possession of it for personal use. They're not gonna put fine you, give you any shit for having them, obviously, like I said, for personal use. But obviously the act of selling or the intent to supply is classed as a criminal act, and you will still get fines, sentencing, court days, the whole shabam alongside that. Just in case any of the listeners are wondering where you stand on the legality of using steroids, it's perfectly fine. Again, they couldn't stop you from using them because some of the compounds are tested and used clinically today in medical practice, all over the world. So it'd be silly for them to say it's illegal to use them when people actually get prescribed it from the doctors.
One thing I will say about personal use before and things like what currently is being used, we will never use something unless there is a clinical trial on said drug. And that is was it like a mantra? Some sort of, like, the idea behind it all that I was taught by my coach, same as George himself, is if it's not clinically tested and tried, then we're not going to use it. There we go. Go on, roll with that.
Yeah. Human clinically, got legitimate
human trials. Yeah, there we go.
Rather than rodent or pig studies, which is the...
Yeah, exactly, because the comparison isn't quite there. And I'm not going to jump out of my depth here and say I understand all of this, because I don't. I'm on the journey to understand it more. But it's extremely difficult because you can't compare research, for example, from a pig or a rodent. Funny enough, I talked to Joe about it last week. You can't compare that data until it has been proved. It's thesis, it's theory. No one really knows.
A lot of what they usually go down with anabolic and androgenic steroids in the rat models is it's usually something to do with cancer cell growth, or the mutation of organs and cell growth in a general sense. But they use I can't remember what the name of the specific rat is, but it's bred specifically because it's genetically predispositioned to get cancer. So it's going to have it whether they put steroids in it or not, and then they measure the rate that it's accelerated.
Yeah.
You take a human being that's not, most of us, I'd hope, are not genetically predispositioned to have it. But anyway, more often than not, what they see in rodent studies or any other animal studies never, or I haven't seen it translate to human studies yet. And that's also, I've heard that also from other people that are far more advanced than me. And some of the studies that I've looked at, you never see that transfer. It's more often than not, quite the opposite. But yeah, when we were saying about human clinical trials, the PEDs that we use, or I will ever use myself or recommend for my clients to use, they are not just humanly clinically trialed, but they are passed for human use in the medical field, in clinics, in clinical practice, today still, or have been in the past. There's a few that have been taken off of circulation because of funding, actually, more than anything, not the effects of the drug itself.
Yeah. Trembolone, for example.
Yeah, that used to be used postmenopausal in females, I believe.
Muscle wasting diseases as well.
I believe in the 80s or 90s. I'm lost on that.
Don't quote us on that, but it's roughly the same era. And that is actually brilliant knowledge that for someone like myself, a very paranoid individual, when it comes to using performance-enhancing drugs, it's nice to know that there's this history behind of drug use and not say, oh, this is what my mate in the gym says, blah, 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 blah. This is what happened to him, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's nice to know that you can trust certain things. And when you are put at ease with stuff like this, then it helps your journey become a little bit easier. For me, going to an individual who knows a lot about these subjects, I'm happy to proceed in a certain way because I know there are, is it safe work models? Is it safe models?
They use it as like a safer use model.
Safe use model, that's it, yeah.
That's the popular phrase nowadays.
Yeah. But obviously the overall goal here is just to enlighten, advise, help, essentially, because like using what I was using for the last, what was it? I want to say just under 10 weeks. So that's just under 10 weeks I could have been running at that. And there was times when I felt a little bit off. And I felt down and sluggish. I thought it was my training, because my training is on point, as in with the progression of it and feeling down, sluggish, essentially less of a man. It comes down to feeling like that, and being almost emotional at times. Like you listen, clear example how when your test is low for me and got some imbalance going on. I'll listen to an emotional song. I'll almost start welling up. You know it. You've been there. And I was thinking, how can this be possible? I'm on cycle right now. My testosterone is 3 times the amount of a normal man. This isn't right. And excuse me. Go and get some MOT blood work done. Shout out the blood lab for that, because
big up Chris at the blood lab, mate. Absolutely fantastic work. Look at going on the blood side of things. Now that there's a couple of different big firms that you use. The Blood Labs is based in Manchester, and they're starting to go all over the UK now. They've got bases.
We spoke to them about.
Obviously, then nothing against Medichecks, a brand that I've used previously for years. They are very good. But if you are looking specifically down the bodybuilding route for blood work, the Blood Labs offer a lot more and a lot more in-depth look, specifically to the needs of our sport, as opposed to Medichecks that just will tell you a doctor's response. Chris is very, very knowledgeable. They offer a consultation service after your bloods are done, as well as IV drips, actual ECGs, the proper 3D scans of the hearts.
How did yours come back, by the way?
Ace, as usual.
Yeah,
always.
Are you getting your consult with Chris?
I spoke to Joe through it all. I may take Chris up on the offer, to be fair. Just it's free, and it'd be good to get some more knowledge from him. Try and pick his brain more than anything, rather than talking about mine. Because like when Joe went through mine, it was pretty boring, pretty basic. There was only a couple of little talking points, really. Looking at like EGFR, kidney filtration rate, the comparison to that, creatinine, urea, etc. It was just pretty good, man. But then I say this quite confidently, I do nail supplementation to the letter. Me and Joe have spent a long time going through, different milligram per kilogram ranges of dose escalations to find different points that I can push to. We still haven't found a point where my blood work actually skews and has a lot of negative feedback yet. Just the typical out of range markers that you'd expect. But it's all pretty gravy, mine, man.
Yeah, see, I'm still waiting. I'm not sitting there going to be the guy that's holding things back here, but I'm going over with Joe tomorrow, obviously, to discuss if there's anything else to be addressed. There's only one other marker, which seemed to be out of the ordinary here. I think it was think it was HDL or LDL. I'm not too sure. Let me quickly pull it out.
Yes, that's a hard one. Cholesterol status is a hard one to pinpoint from blood work alone.
Especially when I had food poisoning 2 days before, and then I didn't want to know if this would have skewed anything, but
possibly. But
one thing where this is diving out of my comfort zone with talking freely about these, because this is a subject that you can't just claim to be good at it. This does take years of work and understanding the terminology and reasons why. Anyone to just say, like we've had before, yeah, your blood work's okay, that isn't enough. If you want to learn enough, definitely get a consult with a higher end individual that knows about the subject, or go to someone like the blood lab direct and actually have a doctor talk to you about it. And not only a doctor, but a doctor that specializes and loves bodybuilding. You're not going to get any better than that. So, and that is definitely, it's worth the money.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, on the cholesterol situation, a more accurate whether it's an issue or not would actually be to get a calcium score test done, so you can measure the level of calcification in the blood vessels. People can have high bad cholesterol, high good cholesterol, whatever weight skews, and have a healthy heart, and people can have what's classed as healthy cholesterol and actually not have a very healthy heart. So calcium score test would be a more accurate look into your heart health, cardiovascular health.
I'm just looking at testosterone there. It's ridiculous.
Alex is just going to sit crying, looking at his panel wide for a bit.
It's okay. The lab was changed, and the weight is already coming back up. So the standard effects, obviously, of testosterone coming back, simple signs of, obviously, like water retention, things like that. And it's clear to see night and day. Obviously, when the scale starts going up quite quickly, and your diet hasn't changed at all, then obviously we have an idea.
This worries me because I beat you to 110.
You did.
For one reason and one reason only. You could have been using bunk gear for a while now, man.
Yeah. That was annoying because obviously George, as far as I know, loves Crown Labs. And I found the Carrier Oil gave them quite a lot of post-injection pain for me. And then I went back from Crown to ROM. And well, we're putting quotes here, ROM, because we don't know if this stuff was real or not. And the post-injection pain was the same. And I was thinking, have I just gone soft all of a sudden? Or maybe there was something, maybe an out-of-date substance in there. Who knows? This is the thing with this side, is you need to trust who you get it from. And I was that guy. I trusted fully in the sources, but it just shows you can go wrong for anyone. And yeah, I'm only a lower-end amateur guy in the competing world, but it just goes to show, guys, you may want to think and look into a bit more of where you are getting your sources from.
A good point you said about the expiration date there. Testosterone's actual rate of decay is like 1% every 7 years or something silly.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So even if your gear's expiration date is 2020 and it's now 2021, I wouldn't be too you might have some issues with the Carrier Oil, but
veggie oil or blooming fry light, mine probably adding it.
Fry light, is it Carrier Oil?
Yeah, mate, I was jabbing fry light for fucking 10 weeks.
Fuck Natty Owl. That's the caption there. Natty Owl and his fry light Carrier Oil.
Should we roll off some labs that maybe could be like trusted more often than most? No, I'm not gonna go there.
It gets a bit funny when you start mentioning names, man.
Yeah, I'm not gonna have no one DMing me trying to diss me. Even what I've said about Rom, agreeing that it probably wasn't Rom, but I can only say what I experienced. So
exactly that.
What can we go on to? What questions did you get?
There is one from last week actually.
I got one as well. Which one is it?
His name Jan Perks. I answered this question last week, but I actually said his name wrong because his name is Jan, not Jan. But the reason why I said it, Jan, I apologize. I said it again, Jan. The reason why I'm saying this is because I had a friend from school who had a name spelled exactly the same as you, but he pronounced it Jan, not Jan. So that's my fault there, my bad.
Jan.
No, it's Jan. It's spelled Jan, but I just because the kid from school always used to say Jan, so I was used to that.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah.
So apologies for that, bro. I will get it right from now on. But yeah, no, he jumped back in this week as well. It's actually quite a good one. I think we've got a pretty similar approach on this, but it's more of a businessy question. So Jan said, things coaches can be doing to attract more clients. It's pronounced Jan, by the way.
Yeah. So, Dan, this is my approach and my belief in coaching. The better I become as an athlete, the more experience I have in the field, personal experience with competing, growing muscle tissue, shredding away body fat, using performance enhancements, not using performance enhancements, supplementation. The better I become as an athlete and the more prestigious my being will be in this world, the better my business will be. How do you attract clients? I don't know. I'm not going to say I'm the favorite for anyone. You know, this market is extremely saturated now. What makes, for example, George here, GW Physique and Becoming, what makes us so different is, here we go, he's done the right thing and represent the top today, even though I've got 30 behind me. Yeah, I've missed that one. So obviously, what can help with business? Be likable, I guess. Should I be advising on this? No, just be yourself, man. You know, I've got my approach. I was the self-conscious fat guy, and then went into the competing world. Lucky enough, have earned the right to become a champion in something. And if people like my style, the way I talk, I love talking to people. That's my thing. I know I'm keep diving for little tangents here, but yeah, like this, that's straight up, that's business mentor stuff, and we can both agree on something here. Some people go about it the wrong way because you're chasing clients, not chasing maybe what you believe in. I don't know. You jump in here because I know I've jumped all over a bit.
The thing that I was getting at there is authenticity. So being you, being yourself, not trying to be someone else. Honing on you, honing on what you're good at, and sadly, that's something that takes time. So you can't, even to me, Al, we are still refining our target audience. You know, there's a big ass journey ahead of all of us here. And, you know, some people specialize in female athletes. Some people specialize in bodybuilders in a general sense. Some people can pick a category that they specialize in. Some are good all around. Some focus on lifestyle clients. Some help women, men. Like, there's so many different avenues in the target audience you can specify to, but you don't know until you've got years of experience, and that slowly evolves over time. I think what you're trying to get at here is more of like a business mentor approach. And don't get me wrong, the best thing you can do is have good systems in place to make your brand and your, you know, how your workload flows a lot easier. But when it comes to actually attracting clients, there's a lot of, I've worked with business mentors, and the first one I worked with, Rob Whitfield, who got me started, said, you know,
as well,
got me started as a coach. Big love to Rob. Was again being authentic. You know, you've got to work out your target audience, and you just got to promote content that to their needs. You know, what do they struggle with? What are their barriers, and overcome them. I've worked later with other business mentors, and yes, it was good at bringing in clients, but the turnover rate, the people you're kind of selling a false, you're like selling them a false idea, selling them a bit of a dream. And you're attracting people that aren't, you know, you can't actually work with because you've not sold them you've sold them the business funnel. You've sold them that.
You get the money. Don't get me wrong. You'll get the money from this, and we've seen it, and we've seen some extremely successful people, which is the balance of finding where your desire goes with it, business-wise, and obviously, are you providing the service you're supposed to? And it's all like people have their own approach, man. This market is so saturated now. To be unique is you kind of have to stick with your guns with it. Like myself, I love talking to people. I love reading. I keep getting this term wrong. Seeing between the lines, reading between the lines.
Either or, man. Both applies.
Because a client will be talking to me and they don't want to say what the problem is. And I will love the fact that I can pick up on it almost, only because I like to listen. I like to talk to people, I like to find out what's going on. And you'll call them out on it almost, but do it the right way. And you'll go over the issue and then come up with the way to get around it. And then all of a sudden you win because you work it out. And originally the guy didn't even want to tell you the problem, because you can see they're struggling with, you know, the diet. Right, let's see what's wrong with the diet. Do they not even like the foods? Some people aren't confrontational enough at all because they don't really know you. You know, you're a random guy online to some of these people that they don't like rice anymore. That's fine, man. You haven't got to eat rice, you know. There are hundreds of other carbohydrate sources that we can use out there. And we will help you along that way to find that. And Yeah, I went off again.
You and your tangents, man. So yeah, when it comes to
let me do it.
When it comes to like drawing in clients, there's a balance between bringing in and that turnover rate and actually providing a good quality of service. And it sucks to say this, and it's probably not the answer you want to hear, but something that changed for me was, instead of focusing on trying to bring in the numbers, which is great, and your monthly income goes up and up and up, and it's all good.
Yep.
But you lose the ability to apply a good quality of service when you're constantly writing up 3-4 plans a day. It's not sustainable. There are people that do it, don't get me wrong, but they have these clients for all of about 5 minutes before they're leaving them because they didn't get the result they want.
Yep.
They didn't feel like they got enough time or attention to detail. So my advice here is literally just be authentic, find out who you are, who you want to be as a coach, the kind of people you want to work with, because everyone has their personal preference, and that's fine. You need to specialize somewhere. That's what's going to make you unique as an individual, as a coach. Like Al said, this market is so saturated with people that are all using the same business mentors. In quite literally, they're all using the same systems to attract and advertise, and they're all doing the same things. So they're all going to be churning in loads of clients, making loads of money, but they won't be keeping them clients on. You may get so say you're taking on 20 clients every other week. Great, you're probably only going to keep 1 or 2 of them long term. Them long term clients are the ones you want, the ones that you can actually get the good quality transformations out of, spend time building that relationship with, and developing yourself as a coach. Again, you're not going to find your niche if you're just churning people in and out. You need to work with people long term. Provide the best possible service you can, educate yourself beyond what you think you need, and apply it every day.
We've seen it quite a few times. If you define your success with money in this game, and the guys keep it, like, if you see an individual who thinks doing really well at coaching, keep an eye on, so this guy is really successful, so he must have quite a few clients. How many of these different people's result is being shared? This is where you need to read between the lines here. So this guy's got 150 clients. Have you seen 150 people pop up on this guy's Instagram, for example?
Yeah.
And I'm not bashing anyone at all, but if you got to kind of see why aren't you see the same people being shared. Same as we all have clients that are great, and we all have clients who are poor and don't perform the way they should because they think the coach is going to get a result just by signing up. But I've got a client, for example, that we have got nearly a 2-year anniversary in a month and a half. He's been with me for 2 years. His name's Jake, right? I wish I had 20 other Jakes.
Big Natty Jake.
Big Natty Jake.
Yeah.
Right? And because he committed to it. Fortunately enough, he's been with me since the start, so his price has not changed. I'm going to tell you now, he pays, what is it? It's just over £100 for over 90 days. He gets 3 months of coaching for like the price of 1 month is now for a top tier service. But that's my belief of it, because he stuck with me. He supported me. Yeah. Loyalty. And I rate that, he supported me from the moment I even put this brand out, and that means more to me than anything. I'd coach that guy for free if it comes to it. Unfortunately, we can't work for free in this world, but I even said to him on a call, man, I was like, mate, someday I may even just say to you, mate, I don't want your money, because your money's not worth anything to me. I just want to work. If he said he lost his job, I'd coach him for free. Really would. I genuinely would, because that is the difference. I want this guy to do well, and I know I'm the guy to get it done. I couldn't trust any other coach to work with him. That's just not the way it is. And that's when you love what you do. And that's why I love what I do.
Yeah, completely, man. Completely. So yeah, Jan, I'm sorry if that wasn't exactly the answer you was hoping for me to give you, like some magical scheme to draw in loads of people, man.
Jan. Do you, brother.
Be yourself, brother. That's the best advice anyone could get. That's the best advice I ever got. What, have you got a question?
Yeah. Is one that's more straight to us, because Andy wanted me to ask this last time. I didn't get around to it. It might come as a shock to you. Post-workout, cock smaller than usual, asking for a mate. Like, does your wink get smaller through working out?
Right.
Of course. Yeah, go on, I'll let you go. Go on. It's on the tip of your tongue. So.
I noticed this after legs, right?
Yeah.
There's a hell of a lot of blood flow to the quads, hammies, glutes, and despite
So
it or
where
not,
does it disappear from? Where does it go from?
my calves are little, yes, but there's still quite a lot of blood going down there. You know, there's a lot
Yeah.
of muscle on the leg to fill up.
Yeah.
I think generally it's a I think any sort of cardio, anything that you're doing that requires more blood flow, your body's prioritize where that needs to go in a really short sentence. Same way you think like say you got hypothermia, yeah, right? Your body prioritizes vital organs, pumping blood to the vital organs, hence why you go cold from the fingers and the toes first, right? So I'm gonna take it and say that this is not something I've looked into personally, but I'm going to take it that that's the kind of line that the body's going along.
Oh, sorry. I'm just looking on my phone there. Yeah, there is actually a term. It's called runner's dick. That if you know any guy that I know you've never run before in your life, and I've tried to years ago before I pursued this. And you will find, cold or not, it is a real thing, and any guy that's to this that runs will know what I mean. It makes it easier for accuracy, I guess, because it makes it more, you want to say, pointy, ready to go. You know, there's not a lot of blood to go from this area anyway, in my own personal stories, but apparently my body sees it fit for this blood to leave the area, and
that's why I get such shit leg pumps. That's why, because I'm only losing half an inch, and it's going to my quad.
Hey, you get half an inch. That's me lucky on a fucking hot Wednesday. Going on to obviously a more serious bodybuilding topic. Big Harvin. He asked, did we cover this? Did we cover Sean Clarida, Giant Killer? How far can he go in the open?
I don't think we did. No. We did speak. I don't know if it was Harvin's question, but I think we did speak about it.
Yeah, I think because we gassed him up because it's phenomenal. I don't think this was. Was this after the show where he won? I think we spoke about it before the show, not afterwards. Anyway, Sean Clarida beat all the open guys at what show was it?
KO Egypt.
It wasn't KO. It wasn't KO.
He beat Regan and Sergio, didn't he?
He's Italy.
I know he beat Regan and Sergio. I can't remember.
Really annoy me. Yeah, he beat Sergio Oliva Jr. and Regan Grimes, as well as other top open guys as well. A guy called Antonio, another 212 guy. Sorry, we'll cover this all. So Sean Clarida is a 212 bodybuilder. There wasn't a 212 class open in the pros for this show. So two guys I know definitely. Antonio, something, I think he's a Brazilian guy. Yeah. And Sean Clarida jumped into the open class. And they both came in the top 5. They was not seeing the height-wise difference. They were seeing the most complete bodybuilders on the day. And obviously, hats off to those guys to prove it can be done. Because Sean Clarida, not only just being a 212 Olympia title holder, he beat open guys. People are going to say it's wrong, but it's an amazing achievement. Therefore, you can see the smile on the man's face.
Obviously, he's not in the 212 cap. He probably is in the 212 cap there when he was on stage, but open is called open for a reason. It doesn't matter what fucking weight you are. If you're big enough and muscly enough to step on stage with them, then you do you, man. I mean, look, Flex Lewis is eventually making a comeback, and he said he's going to open, and I will put a bet out now. Me too. Say that he will go straight to Mr. O. Straight Mr. O. Boom. I'm throwing it out there.
Flex Lewis win the 2022.
Whenever he does decide to do it, he will be. You got to think, had he come second to Ramy the other year, he comes third to Brandon and Ramy this year, just gone, mate. Flex.
If anyone's gonna do it, it's gonna be him.
I just have a soft spot for him because he was the first ever professional bodybuilder to respond to an Instagram comment.
Yeah. And not only that, I'll say why he's such a standout athlete as well as a bloke and a man and just an absolute geezer. He was, when I went to Body Power in 2018 in the UK, he was the standout guy I met that day. Not only did he spend longer in the queue time for everyone to see every single person, he actually spent time and spoke to every single, and it's not just standing low and taking a photo. He full on stood there, and I was told by, I think it was his mother-in-law or his mum who was there at the stand helping. She was saying the whole day, he was having to go behind the the curtain where the stall was set up, and he was having like a 30-minute power nap, just so he could like have the energy for the day. Like, and from what the guy told me, what Flexo told me on the day, I'll always remember. And just he made you feel like, you know, you could talk to him. And at a superstar level that he was 6-time Mr. Olympia at that point. I even got a hat that was signed by him that I've still got, and he's now 7-time Mr. Olympia. But just because that's inspiring. I went away from that weekend feeling inspired because of him, as well as Jason Poston, a guy I met there. Yeah, just you can't. But you see why people love him. You know, you cannot fault. Just what I want him to be like my dad. You know what I mean? I wish he was, but unfortunately he ain't. Like he's that much. If anyone gets a chance to meet him, it is worth waiting the hour in the queue at an event to see him, because he's just a fucking geezer. He really is.
Oh dear. Is a good. Well, this is a relatable one. What color should my test be? Alex is pranging me out.
What color should your test be?
What color should it be?
Green.
It should be purple or yellow dots.
Yeah, it should be multicolored. No. You're to my knowledge, God, what do you mean? What color should it be? Is that how you define how good your gear is?
Well, it depends on the carrier oil, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it depends what different lab. I'm not even going to say like exactly how it should be, but from my experience, I know it to be a clearer oil with a sort of lemonade style tint. And I'm talking the slightest turn of pigmentation, but it's mostly see-through. If it's yellow, you are most likely have Trenbolone in your hand. That is one thing. Or if it's orange, you've most likely got Trenbolone in your hand.
There's a difference. You know, different labs will use different carrier oils, and different compounds have different affinities to be mixed with different carrier oils. The reason that's partly the reason why Trenbolone always comes in that golden elixir, just because of when you're making it, that specific oil works best with it. Essentially, I was right. Test usually comes in a much clearer or carrier oil, but that's not to say that I'm not entirely sure what carrier oils can be mixed with testosterone specifically. Exactly. But again, another fine way to check is to get it tested. Test your gear. That's the definitive answer there. If it comes up and it's fine, then sweet, and it'll probably tell you what carrier oil's in it as well if you use the right test. Test. Same test about 5 times there.
Did we go through our goals for the next 6 months and long-term goals for the next few years last time?
We didn't.
Well, goals is mine is to become an open bodybuilder within the next year and a half, 2 years, whenever the physique is ready for that. I'm jumping from one category to another, which is muscle model to open bodybuilding. And like, I think I've actually covered this before, but yeah, I'm a bigger guy than a lot of guys. But to be classed as a bodybuilder, you need to be quite a size to be a successful, even at an amateur level, bodybuilder. Some of the guys in this country are insane. And until I can hang with them, what's the point? That is my view on it. And
Sean Clarida is like 180, 190 pounds, isn't he?
Yeah, but he's only 5'1".
I know. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you're just being a douchebag.
Heavily muscled.
You have to be heavily muscled. The physique just needs to be developed, and it's got to be comparable at least.
What about the long term?
Long term, do I voice it?
This is what I was just thinking.
Yeah, I'll voice my next goal, and I want to be British champion bodybuilder. That is my next goal. I set the goal 3 years ago to be muscle model world champion. And I also wanted to be an overall champion at the same time I won that. I nailed one of those goals, which was to become the muscle model world champion. And I was in the overall. That's enough for me. And I had people telling me that they had me for the win. That is enough for me. You know, it is not the athlete's fault of who gets chosen. You know, the guy who beat me smashed me on condition, had amazing posing, and was in a different category completely. Fair play to him. And I'd see, that was the greatest thing, how much it meant to him, because he'd been trying for 3 years, also at a high level that I'd only just got into. And you could see, and I was, you know, when you're happy for someone, like genuinely, you could see how much of it, and that, mate, that's a win to me. You know, just by, I was like, do you know what, mate, have it. because that meant more, maybe even more to you than maybe it would have meant to me, you know. And in backstage, screaming, running around with his fucking trophy that was like this big. And yeah, so shout out to Ali. He's competing this weekend at the Pure Elite Worlds again. So maybe he's going to do it again. You know, he might be 2-time overall champion at the World's Pure Elite. So I'll see him anyway. I'll be there.
That'd be sick.
Yeah. What's your goals?
Well, short term,
6 months from now. That takes us just to the early parts of 2022.
Moving to classic physique, but the plan with competing was meant to be the start of the 2022 season. Things with Joe, as Al probably, I don't know if you planned anything with Joe. Things with him planning competitions, etc. It's just not really his priority. His priority is let's start this phase, let's start the next phase. He's focused on what's going on right now and the next, the short-term phase where that's going to put us. And the plan set out by him was let's enter the fat loss phase originally, and we see where we end up. And then when he sees that I'm at a point where you could probably say 8 weeks out, we'll look at show dates close by, pick, choose that suit, and then go for it. After recently speaking to him, he actually said, we could easily squeeze in another quick, round on the growth phase after this fat loss, and then look at the shows at the back end of the year, which I'm completely fine with. Again, I do whatever I'm told at the end of the day. When Joe says ready, I say, okay, let's go. There's no point competing to be a number, make up space. I want to make a statement. And yeah, that's the goal for next year. But like I said, that could change if we start the fat loss phase. Joe even said, like, if we start it and it gets to a point where I'm like, actually, yeah, we're good. Let's go. It could still happen. Long term, it's not really a bodybuilding goal. I said the same thing I said to Joe in my original consultation. I don't know where I could go. I don't know. I want to find out though. So let's see. But the actual goal I've got looming over my head is that I want to, obviously there's stages to this goal. There's definitely steps along the ladder, but I'm going to jump right to the M1. So just bear that in mind that there is steps to this. I'm not just, being a dickhead.
Fucking say it.
I want to turn someone pro. I want to turn someone into an IFBB pro. That's the 5-year goal there. Somewhere within 5 years, and then once that's ticked, it moves up a little bit of a caliber there.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, that's me.
One thing that what I like about, I know obviously we're saying it on the podcast now, but some people will voice goals, whether or not they believe in them or not, and I'd hate for someone to call me a liar, to say that, and it's been called out to me before, as in this guy didn't even want it. And it has been put on me that I didn't want my goal before because you didn't act like it. Like we said before in the last podcast, do your actions reflect your goals? And it'll probably come up a lot more because it is told to us on a regular basis. You slip. Like, as much as we've had guys say how much we've progressed in this time, like in, say, for example, the last year, to one individual, which happens to be our coach, if there was one slip up in that time, that's one more than there should have been. And that is why I love this shit, is there is always more. And oh mate, it always gives me goosebumps. Someone had a saucy motor going past.
That car.
Yeah. People love it around here. Still hear it. But yeah, like just getting involved in this game. And we're gonna jump straight off on a random tangent because we're thinking we've done talk about other topics. If you want to get into this game, just damn do it. Like anyone listening, Jan, I have no idea who you are, man, but I'm pretty sure you can listen to this.
He's a coach.
He's
a coach.
He's a coach himself. Does he compete?
Let me have a look. I had a little flick through his page the other day. I didn't see stage shots. He went to see Ryan Dolan compete the other week. I'm guessing he knows Ryan. I don't know if he's coached by Ryan.
My boy Ryan.
Let me have a look.
Get absolutely robbed. I'll even say it. The man got robbed. And had the audacity to call him out on condition.
I can't see any shots, but He is a bodybuilder, man. He is building a physique. And I'm guessing there's going to be an ambition to compete at some point, judging from his page. But yeah, he's a coach.
I hope you get amongst it, man. I hope it all goes well.
Yeah, big love for jumping on and getting in on the podcast questions, man.
Yeah, and anyone else who's listening out there, I don't care if I don't know you or George doesn't know you. Shoot us a message. Anytime you want to put a question on here, you even want to come on here. Now we're probably for the next one, we're going to probably try to get a guest on. Third one in, get someone else breathing because you'll probably get fed up of us talking shit for too long.
I know I will.
Yeah, I will. I get bored of my own voice, and I know me and my tangents. Like we need to calm down sometimes. But anyone that you've had in mind, or we talk about this afterwards, who you think you feel like maybe the next one.
Well, I mean, I said that if we did a blood work episode, it would be good to get someone like Chris from the Blood Lab on. Whether we can, or even if we have to pay for his time, it would be good to have him on, man. It would be very good.
You know what I'd be doing the whole time?
Writing notes.
Be sitting there like this. That'd be it the whole time.
I think I can only tap in on like a couple of little points, man.
Honestly,
he's a fucking genius.
There's nothing worse. It's not even bad. It's a humbling experience when you talk to an individual about a subject who has decades on top of you or years and years on top of you, and you feel stupid. And there is nothing wrong with feeling stupid because at least it knows that I'm leveling up. I'm still taking things in.
There's very few conversations I have in the day now that aren't with people that make me feel stupid.
Mm-hmm.
That's the environment I like to be in.
Yeah. And that's when I like to go talk to clients about certain topics afterwards. I'm like, maybe I do know a few things about this game, you know?
Just regurgitating. The brain's soaking up like a sponge just so we can keep. Yeah.
I'm a moist sponge right now.
When you both getting any more tats? Have you got any plans for any more?
Well, I literally had the back of my neck done last week. So can I show it? Let me see.
Show me the.
Can you see it?
Nah, come into the camera a bit more. See, I can see a little like female Mandela at the top there. That's cute. No, it's because the ball's covered by the LRF top. That's all.
Yeah. I had obviously I've got a half sleeve on my leg down at the minute, which is already put me. How much that put me? It's like 1,100 pound deep, and the leg's not even half done. In our game, I feel I have to be conscious of where my tattoos go because of covering up too many muscles. So that's why I went for the top of the neck, the back of the head, top of the neck, and across the top of the shoulders because I don't know if it's covered up too much. With the leg, I already committed when I was 18, so that's before I even wanted to be a competitor. So I'm committed to that now. The leg will be done. But yeah, this one's getting coloured next month if I can book in with Hazel. She's quite busy. But as soon as I can, that is being coloured and it's going to look sauce because tattoo I've wanted since I was 11.
Yeah, mate.
When's your next one? You got the fingers, right? To come?
Well, I did the hand the other week.
Mm-hmm.
I probably will do the fingers at some point, man. I don't like blank space. But yeah, it'll probably be the other hand at some point. Even though
look at you lifting your arm up just to show off your tattoo. Look at that.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. That again, same thing though, man.
Look. Oh yeah, I might do a couple of
had a fair few. But yeah, I want to actually do back of the neck, front of the neck. I do. I want to. Yeah, again, it's the same thing though. I wanted to do all my limbs, arm, legs. I've done half of the other leg. But again, bodybuilding, I stopped and was like, shit, I can't really keep covering it up. I know you can, there's hands that cover it and stuff, but outside of Rob Taylor, is there really many people that have turned pro covered in tattoos?
Not really.
Do you know what I mean? I don't really think there's many. And, I know that the old school judges kind of frown upon it still. Especially say he was at fucking Olympia level. Come on, like there's a common denominator here. They don't have any of the major body parts covered up. They might have their forearm done with a small bit or like hand, calf, maybe. There is a common.
Or the tattoo is very almost faint. Like not many people may know, but hasn't James Hollinshead got a big tattoo on his back, or is it his front?
No.
Honestly, you made me confused there. He actually has. I think it's a. Let me quickly go onto his Instagram.
Yeah, didn't he? I thought he had one on his arm.
No, man, he's got a big piece, but it's like light shading. So,
Yeah, so for me, it was just going to be back of the neck at some point, which is why I told Al to go for it, actually, because I was thinking about myself as usual. I was like, Al looks sick. Yeah, do it, do it. Probably the forearm on the other side, maybe, but that's about it, really. A little something behind the ear and onto the neck there. A little cute one, me and the missus, because we're gay. Yeah. We've got a few more here. Would you rather have fingers for dicks or dicks for fingers? Come on, that needs some thinking, really, man.
Say that again.
Would you rather have fingers for dicks or dicks for fingers? I'm pretty sure they've done this on RBP.
Dicks for fingers. Or fingers. How many fingers do I have if it's in my dick? Is it just like one finger?
Fingers? I don't know. Yes.
Can you imagine it's like this. Yeah, just like...
think of what you could do with that, though.
Yeah, imagine slapping it across someone's face. That would be amazing.
You could do that anyway. I don't really know how to answer this one. If I had dicks for fingers, do I keep my dick anyway? That's the decider for me. I don't want to lose him.
Wait, I may have found out something here.
Okay, here we go. Hit me up.
Bro, why can't I find James Hollinshead's Instagram?
Oh, no. We're talking about the guy that's been everywhere on Instagram because if you didn't know, it got hacked. Do you know that? Have you not seen it?
What, James Hollinshead got hacked?
Yeah, Ben Chow did a post. I'm here with James. His Instagram got hacked, Hollinshead, because so many people have been messaging Ben saying, did you know his Instagram had been hacked or saying? So I'm guessing it's been either deleted or removed from Insta.
I thought he blocked me because I'm pretty sure I commented on one of his things. Wait, one thing I will say, those who follow the competing game, Andre Ferguson blocked me like 3 years ago.
Why?
And I commented on his thing because there was hype between him and Brandon Hendrickson. And I commented, it was harmless. I swear it was. But I remember because he went on a podcast afterwards and he just doesn't give a fuck, mate. He says, if you anything on, this is sort of like a impersonation of him. He's like, if anyone ain't on my shit, you getting blacked. That's what he was doing. He was like, I'll block 1,000 people if I have to. So I made it into that. All I was doing, I can't remember what I said. It was something like, I think it was like one against the other or something like that. Like, because there was hype between obviously him and Brandon Hendrickson. And obviously I'm actually kind of glad he lost now because he blocked me, bastard.
Yeah, but that's the attitude. That's the attitude of in life.
Yeah.
Negative energy. Bye.
Why was he being negative, man?
Yeah, bring it back to bodybuilding. How much protein do we actually need? I see some people hitting like 300 grams plus a day.
Oh,
it's an interesting one. I know my take on it.
Yeah. It's down to body weight. What's the calculation? 1.25 per pound of body weight. Let me fucking find it. Go and waffle for a second.
So it depends on what phase you're in, where you're at, dependent. Obviously, fat loss phase, you're going to increase protein, obviously to increase your NEAT expenditure. So the calories burnt, part of NEAT expenditure is the calories burnt by food. So during a fat loss phase, you can escalate it to 2 to 2.2 grams per pound of body.
Per pound, yeah. Okay. It's like 1.6. My idea was near enough, like 1.2 to 1.5 grams. But I'm seeing here, this is just a quick search on Google, what they like to say, 1.6, 2.2 grams per kilo. As long as you're around, say if you're, I don't know, most average males are around 180, 170, 190 pounds, which is around anywhere from 70 to 80, sort of like 85 kilos maybe. As long as you're intaking the exclusive of your poundage of weight, so over 200 grams in the 230, 250 range for a guy who actively works out to put on muscle, then yes, that is what you want to be aiming for. Most people that are average Joes here won't even be able to sort of even know how to work out their protein intake. But for those athletes out there, you'll be looking at consuming probably 2 grams per pound of body weight of protein per day, which is a lot harder than some people may think.
It varies, like I said, between phases. And something to say on the gaining phase here. I see a lot of people overeating protein during a gaining phase. Realistically, how much protein do you actually need to build muscle? before there's only so much muscle you can build, and otherwise anything excess of what is just the minimum requirement to build muscle, you're wasting dietary space that could be partitioned to carbs.
Exactly.
To benefit you much more during the growth phase. Workout, obviously the minimum requirement for you during the gaining phase. And we could do a whole fucking podcast going through this first. The transfer from gaining phase to fat loss phase, or from a fat loss phase into a gaining phase, I should say. If you're escalating protein up during a fat loss phase, when you transfer into a gaining phase, you wouldn't just instantly drop it out back to the minimum requirement. You could use that as a tool for later on during the gaining phase when your digestion starts to slip, appetite starts to go. You can then look at reducing protein over time to allow for more carbohydrates. It's not just like a set thing, right now I'm gaining, drop it out, but that transition between phases as well. But as a higher protein, a fat loss phase, the minimum requirement in a gaining phase.
Yeah, I was going on, as you were saying about why would someone swap out a carbohydrate for a protein? Why would someone increase the protein in the fat loss phase? Because most often than not, it's not just normal common knowledge, but most carbohydrates are more calorically, what's the right term to use? More calorific than, say, a protein source. For example, egg whites versus rice. The calories per size of the portion, if you were to have 100 grams of egg whites, work out the calories of that and the proteins and the carbs. And then if you were to 100 grams of, say, rice, the calories, carbs, proteins, things like that. Where would you rather use your calorie intake for the day with what source you would use? For example, if we want to be in a deficit, we need to make sure we're choosing our sources the best way, obviously to help us function and obviously to carry on progressing. I would prefer to use calories maximally to where I can for the minimal caloric load of that food. You see where I'm going with this? Just making sure I'm not
food volume.
I like volume overall. When it comes to dieting down, I will use veggies to the max, and I have even pushed veg almost too much at a certain time where it's actually turned my digestion upside down. I found my limit with it. You can't just replace everything and ramp 300 grams of veg in each meal, because there is still obviously caloric. There is calories there. Some people think, I can have loads of fruits. Everyone's got the thought. Yeah, we're going to dive off here, but it is to do with the subject. People thinking that you can have umpteen amounts of fruits and it's healthy. Yes, there is going to be vitamins and minerals in these fruits that are going to be great. But there's also the magnificent thing in fruits that some people don't really know, and that is carbohydrates, whether it's fructose or not, or glucose. Go on, dive in. I know you're ready.
It's just a lot of fructose in fruit, man. It's just another carb source. It is just another carb source. A lot of calories. Vegetables, you got it's a carbohydrate source with trace proteins and trace fats. So there's calories in that. So overdo it. And like Al said, the fiber content in vegetables obviously could upset digestion at some point. And then there's a lot of fruits and vegetables that, of course, could come up on the FODMAP list that could obviously cause you some digestive stress. I'm not going to say IBS because it's a bullshit condition that doctors give you because they can't be asked to go through and work out what foods don't necessarily agree with you. Oh, you got digestive stress. Yeah, you got IBS, mate. It's a condition. You just don't agree with blueberries, mate. Shut up. Yeah. Sorry. That's a bit of a rant for me. But yeah, I was right there. Higher protein in a fat loss phase for food volume, dietary space as well. They're going to, digest a lot slower as well. Things that you need to consider with trying to suppress appetite when you're hungry. They're like little tips and tricks just to, you should be doing that anyway in a fat loss phase, but they will help with hunger and satiety. But yeah, the thermogenic rate of food, it takes a lot more calories to burn through proteins than it does a carbohydrate. Fats is a little bit more than carbohydrates as well, but I believe protein is the highest rate of thermogenesis, so the most calories to burn through that in your stomach. So that will help with fat loss because you're using calories to burn through that food, which comes back to that neat expenditure again. But yeah, it depends. Protein requirement just depends on where you're at, what your requirement should be for that phase. The numbers, just kind of reeling it back from the tangent there. I
just realized we went right away from that question.
So
but it's part of the subject.
I will go like 2 to 2.2 grams per pound during a fat loss phase,
Mhm.
escalate it up to that over time, obviously. And during a growing phase, you could drop it down to even like 1.6, pounds, 1.6 grams per pound body weight, and titrate it down to that again over time during the phase. But yeah, you got any more questions, Al?
No, I was saying, touched on the end of that. Everyone is different in every single aspect of muscle gaining, fat loss, obviously vice versa. It's on you and on whoever you work with, friends, family, coaches, whatever, to find that. There are similarities between individuals, things like that, but each individual person is different. For example, George's calorie maintenance and my calorie maintenance is pretty different. George is 6-foot individual and I'm 5'9" individual. And the amount we move around during the day, our fidgeting habits, like, will all go towards our expenditure, our needs, our need for the day for our normal expenditure will all be different. And if you're very new to this, just reach out for advice from anyone you think you can trust who actually may be able to give you a straight answer. And just find out for yourself. Try macro tracking some certain things. If you don't even know what macro tracking even means, Google it and then try to put it into action. See what you can do, see what a calorie maintenance is, see what a calorie deficit is, see what a calorie surplus is, get involved with these things. Try to find out. You may not have the money to use to get a coach, but they are out there and they are in abundance. We are coaches ourselves, and we're always there, only a message away if you ever need help.
There's a hell of a lot of free information out there now, man. There's a hell of a lot of free information out there.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look hard enough, people could generally, saying it like, through Instagram, mate, people learn through the internet,
Yep.
through bloody PubMed. Look at research papers on nutrition, look at research paper on PEDs.
Yeah.
Through people and find the relative books to look up knowledge. There's plenty out there. So if you are, not in a position to get a coach, it doesn't mean you can't continue on your goals. Just do it yourself. Learn. That is the best way to learn would be, to trial. I wouldn't say that with PEDs. That's not the best way to learn. That is something you should be waiting until you're in a position to hire someone who knows what they're doing. I will say that now. But with nutrition and training, are you wasting time? Possibly. But if you're not in a position to hire a coach, then you're making the best out of that time at that moment. But yeah, I think that's us today, guys. That's a little wrap up on our tangents. But yeah, just to finish that off, a little bit of selling point from me here. I do, just leading off from the asking people thing, I do have a consultation service on purpose, for a reason. So if you are curious in regard to nutrition, training, or PEDs and enhancements, please just reach out, drop me a message, and we can obviously book you in for a consultation to go through anything of the sort. And I know that Al offers very similar services himself.
Yeah, of course. So feel free to reach out on Instagram, Facebook, anything, Alexander_becoming, or check out Team Becoming. We're only ever a message away to talk about anything in regards to fitness, bodybuilding, getting in shape, fat loss, body confidence, you name it. We eat, live and breathe this life, and if I can help someone out, an extra person through this podcast, then that's a win for me. So is that a wrap up from us? We'll have a little breeze after this.
Guys. Exactly that, guys. So yeah, next week, hopefully we'll have a guest in. But obviously me and Al will keep you all guys updated on our Instagram stories at DW Physique and at Alexander Becoming. And yeah, hit up the YouTube channel, guys. Every like and subscribe is appreciated. There will be more content coming out, not just from me, but I will get Al in for some good content soon, some good training footage. I might even post some of the old fit visuals.
Oh, the fit visuals, yeah. 2020, yeah.
But yeah, peace, guys, and I'll catch you next week.
Thank you for joining. Thank you.